Hey guys, it's Sandro here with part 2 of this motorcycle series, today focusing in on how to polish a motorcycle. Now in part 1 of this series, I went through all the vital washing and decontamination steps that are extremely important in order to prepare a motorcycle for paint correction, as if you don't firstly clean and strip the motorcycle surfaces completely bare, you will limit and compromise the results that are achievable in this next paint correction stage. So the first step, once the bike is completely clean and bare, is to inspect the paint, making sure you have a good light source that will mimic how the bike will look outside on a bright sunny day. And this step will also allow you to gain a good understanding of the defects that you'll need to address. Although this bike is relatively new, you'll hopefully be able to see that there's already a lot of paint defects, such as rotary buffer holograms and wash-induced swirls, that were either created by Honda at the factory, but most likely at the dealership prior to sale. The metal and chrome trims are in overall good order, but they still look like they could do with a little brightening up. Next, it's important to protect sensitive and surrounding trims with masking tape in order to avoid damaging them or picking up unwanted residue on your polishing pads. I'll also add here that if a panel or trim has a smooth gloss finish, you can generally polish it. So that includes metals, plastics, and painted or clear gloss finishes. The areas you want to make sure you don't polish are any matte or satin paint and finishes, as well as textured plastics. If you do polish those trims, you will create gloss and ruin the original finish. I'm going to quickly discuss polishing machines, pads and compounds here. And yes, you can also hand polish a motorcycle, but as I've mentioned numerous times in the past, machine polishing will achieve far greater results far quicker. Now a motorcycle is filled with small intricate panels and trims, so a large 5 or 6 inch polisher is pretty much useless when it comes to motorcycles. You'll need a mini or nano polisher that uses 1, 2 or 3 inch pads and a selection of cutting, polishing and finishing pads, as well as a selection of fine, medium and coarse compounds. All paints and trims are different when it comes to their hardness and sensitivity, as are all defects ranging from light to moderate and severe defects. So having just a small selection of pads and compounds that range from light to more aggressive applications should help you tackle almost any paint type or defects you're likely to encounter. Now I do this for a living, so I have quite a large selection of machines, pads and compounds. But as a starting point, any one of these 3 polishes and just a couple of less aggressive to more aggressive pads and compounds should be fine. And as always, I'll have the products used in this video listed in the description box. My next step was to measure the paint, just to make sure that the thickness on this new bike is as it should be. I was actually really pleased and surprised to see quite a large thickness reading on the bike's petrol tank that was actually the thickest reading I've ever measured on original Honda paint. So into the all-important test sections. I'm going to use a light polish on a fine to intermediate foam pad, as all I'm really dealing with is lighter swirls and holograms. And based on my experience, just about every Honda or Japanese paint tends to be quite soft, so this should be quite a good light starting point. And the best combination to always start with is the least aggressive method that still has the potential to work. And just as important is technique. I'll be using just a tiny drop or two of polish on my pad, and I'll be applying just light pressure and using a medium machine speed, which is also a great starting point for your first test section. It's also really important to use your alcohol or IPA wipe down to remove any polishing oils that could mask the defects in order to allow you to truly judge your results with your inspection light. Based on the results in my test section, I can see that I've removed the majority of the holograms and swirls, and just as important, I've also removed quite a bit of haze and increased the gloss and clarity of the paint. The level of quality and finish you wish to achieve is completely up to you. But for me personally, I really want to get the paint and trims looking as good as possible, as after all, it is a brand new bike, and I'd really like it to look pretty much perfect, at least once, as it should be when you buy a brand new vehicle. Now I could use a slightly more aggressive compound and pad to get a little more cut in order to eliminate 100% of the defects, but that may in fact reduce the quality of finish that I've achieved. And I really don't want to lose that great finish or have to do two separate stages of polishing unless I have to. So for my next test section, I'm actually going to stick with this same combination and just slightly alter my technique to try and achieve a little bit more cut, but still retain that same fantastic finish. The way I'm going to try and achieve this is by using a little more polish on my pad and working it a little longer in the section with a touch more pressure and a higher machine speed matched to a slower arm movement. Hopefully you'll see in the footage that the results are about as close to perfect as possible, with the defects pretty much eliminated and the finish just looking so much more vibrant and saturated with great depth and clarity. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can polish any high gloss finish on a motorcycle. However, it's really important to do a test section on every different material or trim, as it could respond quite differently to your combination and techniques, and give you quite different results. Hopefully you can see that the plastic cover is really swirled up, but hopefully you'll also see shortly that the very same combination of polish, pad and technique worked perfectly to eliminate those defects and amplify the gloss and finish. But I'll add once again that this isn't always the case, and you may need to try a different combination and technique if the trim isn't responding well. Now you'll see me do a few more test sections trying this same combination on more diverse trims, paints and finishes with surprisingly consistent and fantastic results. I was honestly not expecting this same combination and method to work on every surface so well, but what can I say other than sometimes things just work out well, so you just need to be thankful and go with it. but just be sure to always inspect your results with proper lighting and your IPA wipe down. So with all my testing done and discovering that this single combination of the Rupes yellow foam pad with the Rupes fine Millet polish was all that was needed, I put away my other pads and compounds and got down to business correcting the bike. Now with so many small, diverse and random trims to polish on a motorcycle, it's easy to miss something. So try and work in a methodical fashion from top to bottom and front to back, concentrating on one area at a time and you'll be fine. It's easy to believe that polishing or correcting a motorcycle is easier or quicker than a car due to its much smaller size. But hopefully you will see in this video that the sheer volume of so many individual and intricate panels and components make it just as time consuming as most cars, at least if you're looking to achieve the best possible results. Also worth a mention is metal polishing. You may ask why I'm not using a specific metal polish for the chrome or other metal trims. The reason is that almost all metal polishes contain fillers and sealants that will actually prevent a ceramic coating from bonding to them. Now if you're not intending on ceramic coating your bike or those trims, you can certainly use a metal polish. However, if you are ceramic coating the bike, as I will be in the next video, just use a fine and pure paint compound to polish the metal and restore its brilliance. That, as you can hopefully see, works amazingly well. The rest of the polishing footage is fairly self-explanatory. I basically used the same method and technique to work my way around the entire bike. I cleaned out my pads with compressed air constantly and used about 6 pads in total, and all up, in the end, it was a good 10 hours of paint correction on this little Honda monkey. A couple of points I want to add are firstly, that quality detailing or paint correction is really all about the details. I know that some of you may think that I'm crazy for polishing every little nut and bolt, especially on a relatively new bike. But I'm really hoping that you will see in the end that taking that extra time to address those finer details makes all the difference. as it allows the bike to pop with extra definition and really glow like it never did before. Yes, I understand that not everybody is going to care to that same level, but for me personally, it's just a really rewarding and satisfying experience and outcome. Secondly, I want to be clear that I do intend on riding this bike and using it without any fear of damaging or ruining the finish. The whole reason I spend a lot of time and energy correcting and protecting my vehicles is so that I can enjoy them knowing that they look fantastic and are well protected. I'm not a guy who collects vehicles to store or display them. I love cars and bikes, and I'm all about driving and riding them, just to be clear.
Perfect.
The final step was another complete alcohol-based wipe down. And again guys, spend a little time and do it right, as it will pay off in the end when it comes to the next stage of ceramic coating the bike, which I'll hopefully have that next video coming up soon. As always, I really hope you guys enjoyed and found this video useful. Please like, comment and subscribe to this channel to show support for these videos, and I'll see you guys soon.